Hold up. We're live here, but I had to click go live. There we go. We are now live on Instagram.
The Star.
Yeah, y'all already know. Seven the pan. That dude Biz on the beat. Yeah. We live in entertainment. Sound change. Crown the kings, homie. This is where it get ill. About to have the tip off live as a tip drill. From the court to the diamond, to the track, to the big skin, flying around the field, starting five forever, keeping it real. If it matters in the world of sports, jeans and long sleeves, they taking no shorts. Hot the death, oh yes, these other sports podcasts live as a pros course. Biz market wave, the starting five goes off. No matter who you cheer for, emotions out the window, they analyzing with clear thoughts. They take it way deeper than the boys ever. No longer got any use for the four letters. The latest news, score stats in the view from the sideline. Ain't no guideline, it's just the truth. Yeah, no need to dig for a pardon line. It's always in season, and people starting five. We going in on three, run the baseline, starting five. Get it, we got what you need. In the sports news you see, we don't waste time. We talking cause we live it. We got what you need. We going in on three, run the baseline, starting five. Get it, we got what you need. And y'all know me, seven sign, I'm the illest cat spit. I got what you need.
Oh man, much better since I fixed that. And you see how quick I did that, Ed? I did that shit matter a few minutes before. Nothing crazy. Just a quick little edit. And if y'all look at past episodes, you'll notice what I'm talking about if you pay attention to details like this one. It's your boy the Mayor, that DJ named Ace 5. I don't need to say the rest because if you've been watching us, you should know the rest of it by now. Back with the newest episode of the Start 5. As always, go to that box next to Ed's head. I know Tyrone is missing the box, which we're going to talk about something about with the box and Tyrone in a second. But go to the box there, hooksrub.com. Use the code starting5 to get 20% off your order. It's barbecue season now. You know, people are in pools already. Memorial weekend. What up, Tyrone?
What up is that, I come on this show and I've been talking about how it's been 4-on-1 and 3-on-1 and how I'm the outcast. And then we get a guest on here, and this guest right here, Ed, comes on this show and to torment me himself too. You know what I'm saying? Now he got here early today to get the box. He know I like getting the box. So he's gonna get here early so that he can have the Hooks box too. Ed is here just to get on my nerves. But I appreciate him coming because he keeps me on my toes at all times. Because he does have bars on everything that we talk about. And I can't hate on him for that.
There you go. I got it, Justice. See you. There you go. Home. I'm just a guest here, so my apologies off the bat. Jokes for later. But hey, you got the box. You got the home turf advantage now. You good. We good. We good. Woosa. Yeah.
Big O.
What's going on, family? I'm chilling, man. I'm trying to get over this cold, man. So, excuse me for coffee, man. I'm let y'all know, man. I'm trying to push through though, man. But yeah, man. Looking forward to a great show.
Oh, so this week it's a cold, not alcohol cold like normal.
No, it's water.
But you heard him. You heard him a second ago. What's up, Ed?
Chilling. Thank you for having me back on. Just here to talk some trash. So,
word. DJ's coming a little late. Jamal's got his barbecue flip flops on right now, chefing up some shit somewhere. But yeah, man. So Tyrone, again, I don't know why you ever think this is like a combative thing or you getting jumped, but a video of yours was recirculating the internets, and Yeah, it was just again, it was about the box, as we said a second ago. It was about the box, and I'm trying to see if I could get to. There we go. I'm gonna get to our inbox to find that video. Hopefully, YouTube don't strike us down with this one. And I gotta
Why would they
sort.
strike us down? That video is on YouTube like crazy.
Oh,
Well, you'd
true
be
indeed,
surprised. You'd be surprised sometimes though.
true indeed. But here it is, and it's going back on YouTube. But here it is. Yeah.
Vagina has always been my favorite snack. It's delicious, it's healthy, you can eat a whole lot of it and not gain no weight, and it comes in many, many flavors. It's just a little bit expensive, so I don't get to eat it all the time. What's your favorite snack? Vagina. Vagina has always been my favorite snack. It's delicious, it's healthy, you can eat a whole lot of it and not gain no weight, and it comes in many, many flavors.
So it's clear in some ways, but give the people what your train of thought was.
You know what the train of thought was.
Go ahead, Tyrone. We're gonna give you the. Go ahead, we're gonna give you.
It was just a humbug. It was just a humbug thing. I just saw it. What's your favorite snack? And I thought that just popped right in my head. It was just that fast. It just popped into my head, and I just said it. And then once I said it, it was like I gotta elaborate on this. So I just started saying all kinds of shit about how nutritious. When they say something is healthy and nutritious, I just went on this whole spur about how nutritious it is. It's healthy, but it's too expensive, so I can't afford to have it all the time. You know what I mean? It just popped up, and I just went with it, right? But I hate seeing that video because it went viral 3 times on Instagram, posted by somebody else. You know what I'm saying? So 3 different people stole that video and went viral with it. And me, the one who did the video, have not went viral with it. So it's kind of like stings a little bit to see that video getting circulation and getting millions and millions of views, and me not getting any credit. You know what I mean?
And that's the fucked up shit about the game nowadays. It's like people get off of other people's material. That's why it's like it's rough to reshare shit, in my opinion. Like I don't mind resharing something, especially help somebody out, or unless it's some shit that's just really really funny. But it's like, yo, when it's your clip, people don't go back to like your clip. Like for instance, like on TikTok, this is something that I do. If you did like a duet and you're just looking at shit and then maybe giggling on the side, I might like the video because I consider you my peoples or whatever, but I go to the original video and give that love like off the bat because that's how it should go.
Here's the problem. They had no original video to go to. These people that went viral off my video did not just reshare my video. What they did was they screen recorded my video, cropped me out of it, cropped my name out, cropped all my information out, and then posted the video like it was theirs.
If you could,
there was no reference for anybody to even go back to my page and look at all.
There's people actually taking out watermarks. It's like some people to cover their asses, they'll put watermarks, and like you said, they'll crop it out or which like for me, if I see something that I screen capped on Twitter, I always try to give the person the credit at least so that they know so they don't, as someone who's been a writer, like. I hate when people steal credit. It's a part of the game, unfortunately. So to me, I'm already wary about trying to take somebody else's credit. And so whenever I screen cap, I always try to get the information at least, maybe not the link, but at least it's that person, it's their material and not me. I'm just putting it out there in the ether, if you will, as opposed to like, well, let me copy and paste this and and it's like, that's just, to me, that's just foul waters. It's like, you're the person their due. If you're gonna use it for your own to get your clicks and likes, then give that person at least some sort of semblance of credit and shout out in some manner.
Something. Yeah.
That's the worst feeling to have people stolen. I've had, because I promised, I swore a long time ago I wouldn't get petty into it, but I had somebody steal from the Daily News, steal a block piece of mine, and I'm still eating that L. And it's one of those where like the smart move was just to keep my mouth shut, and it's not in my nature. But to this day, I'm glad to see Karma got him though. Karma got that person. So that's just, but it's the worst feeling to have your credit stolen. I had my credit stolen from Maxim. I did an interview with Maxim a long time ago, and they were like, come up with some ideas for potential articles. And this was when Maxim was like shit. And I was telling them, I pitched them about featuring a Colombian actress by the name of Sofia Vergara, who ended up being on Modern Family. She was like the hostess on Univision. I'm like, yo, y'all got to see this shit. She's the next big thing. Next thing I know, a couple of months later, who do I see on the cover of Maxim? And it's like, you don't know if it was they took your stuff or not during that interview, or they had it planned, because sometimes they plan things ahead of time. But that kills your soul as a creative. It really does. When you just see, at the same time, flip side, there's an ego aspect. Like, well, I know I must be good on some level that I have something like Maxim or the Daily News jacking my stuff. So,
or somebody else said, "Oh, damn, yeah, she does have the next big things."
It was Maxim. In my defense, it was Maxim. So it's like, you got to know your audience, like when you're interviewing, and she is definitely of that audience. So I'm saying.
But yeah, man, shout out to everybody on Instagram checking in. We got Lou from the BX, the homie, the Owner's Box, Full Court 21 Canada, checking in on Instagram, even though it's showing no eyeballs on it. But we just, I see it. I had to have an Instagram window up on the side because it doesn't show up here on StreamYard, man. But we'll try to do this every week now. Try to get some of these Instagram, because talking about people giving love, like I could post some shit on our Instagram that gets way more love than on any platform else. And the love is just, hearts, likes, and all of that stuff. But still, all of that stuff adds up. So we're going to try to see if this stream will carry over there too. Apologies for the music. Poor people having a good time. It's all right.
Oh, man, I got to be poor.
Yeah, Lou says, I hope the Pacers get fucking swept. Don't we all, especially as Knicks fans? We said it last week. We wasn't gonna be mad at it because it was, we went down bad. We went down to injury, and now the Pacers are feeling the same thing.
Yo, these Pacer fans' tears, boy, taste so sweet. They are actually crying by Halliburton being out. I'm sitting there, boy, like, yo, y'all some fucking clowns. Because the way y'all told us to suck it up, you know what I'm saying? After they beat the Bucks with a depleted Bucks team, a depleted Knicks team. But I'll give it to them. Yo, they it was down to the wire last night in that game. They played their hearts out. Rick Carlisle, his offensive schemes, man, I'll give it to them. But
I think in the credit. Sorry, go ahead, Dan. Sorry.
All I was saying is you play who's in front of you.
Yeah, no, I mean it's like poker. You got to play the hands you're dealt. I mean, Sixers fans can say the same thing. Knicks fans. It's just been the theme of the entire Eastern Conference playoffs of the whole bracket. Like every team is had their issues with injuries. It's just the nature of sports. These aren't pixels. This isn't fantasy league. These are flesh and bones. 82 games. It's a hard grind, despite what people, I was talking with Will Strickland. It was like, for me, that's my dream job, but it's still a job. And like 82 games, people think, yeah, I can play 82 games. I'll play 82 games in the park. That's not the same thing. It is not. 82 games against the 1% of the 1% of the 1% of the best talent at their craft. It adds up, and people get hurt, and that's just the nature of sports.
And include travel, trying to find ways to get rest, trying to add in the light workouts to keep your body in tune, and it's a different grind. It's a totally different grind. If I wanted to relate it to wrestling, this is why Will Ospreay chose to go to AEW, because that WWE grind is it's something different. And that's why their talent is getting younger and younger and younger, because the younger talent can probably do the grind, and the older talent comes in when they want.
I understand all that shit y'all saying, I understand you play who in front of you. I understand injuries is part of the game, right? All that shit y'all saying, yeah, that's understandable. But for you Knicks fans and for fans of Indiana right now with Halliburton being out, their argument is legit, though. It doesn't matter if you play who's in front of you. It doesn't matter if it's a grind. It doesn't matter if injuries happen to every fucking team. If I lose a key player like Halliburton, then that does affect our playoffs. That does affect the games. That does affect whether we win or lose. So if I want to be mad about that and I want to say, hey, we're losing because Halliburton got injured, yeah, that's a legit thing to say. So when people be like hating on fans that say, hey, my main guy's injured, and then people go, that's part of the game. So I don't give a fuck, bro. It's still affecting the outcome of my team.
Tyrone,
so I still have that argument.
I know you don't give a fuck, Tyrone. But the one thing you didn't hear from many of us Knicks fans, especially us here, we didn't throw in those excuses of, yeah, well, we talked about it on the show where it would be a different series if, but no excuses. What? You line up who's on the team.
What I'm saying is, why would it be a problem to say that? Why would it be a problem for Knicks fans to say, hey, we lost because we were fucked up, we had injuries? That's not a problem.
Go ahead, Ed.
To Tyrone's credit, see, I'm defending you. I'm gonna be Johnny Cochran for you. To your credit, the business of sports is driven by emotions, especially two emotions, hope and hype. And when you have a star like Halliburton, look, I experienced that as a Nets fan. There's no crying, but like KD got hurt. Kyrie was doing Kyrie things, which don't get me started on that. Where the hell was this Kyrie 3-4 years ago? But I digress. Wusa. Harden was having issues back and forth with his health, with his weight fluctuating, whatever it was. So part of it's I get it. As a fan, you're frustrated, and it's okay to vent. You're totally in the right. But at the same time, there's a certain fan where there's got to be there's a thin line between venting and being unreasonable. And I think, and we see this in wrestling social media, we see this in NBA social media, there's a sense of unreasonableness. I think that's the word, unreasonableness to the griping. It's okay to gripe. It's okay to get it out, say it with your chest out. Absolutely. But you also got to be self-aware that, 82 games, once you get past 82 games, the body starts breaking down unless you're on PEDs, it's just the nature of sport. And you have to take it for what it is. Like, it's just the nature of the game.
And I think we as fans, we understood, as Knicks fans, we understood that. No one went into the playoffs thinking, oh man, Randall is down, Bogdanovich is not hurt. We as the list got further along, we probably started, talking about OG getting hurt. Like, oh damn, like okay, now we're in trouble. Like, yeah, we always had that next man up mentality. So,
I think. Sorry.
Say again.
No, I was going to say the thing that we got to give the Celtics credit is that. So as a general manager, you understand that injuries happen. You got to create depth. Maybe you can't replace with one player what a certain player does, but you can get other pieces to help compensate in the meantime so that player gets better. Losing Porzingis was a big deal for the Celtics if you've been watching them all year. But credit to Brad Stevens and the operation they got that they've had an Al Horford step up. Drew Holiday is going to be doing Drew Holiday things. They've had G Leaguer bumps like Derek White step up, and so. As a general manager, it's really on them to create the depth to compensate for a lot of that. Going back to my Nets, they didn't, Sean Marks didn't do a good job creating depth to replace the production that any one of those three guys when they had them were there. That's just part of the job as a general manager, and you get hired and fired off of that. And so I think more credit should be given to the Celtics management for creating the depth to be able to navigate these waters to pretty much get a clear path to the finals, it seems like.
But I just don't like the whole excuses thing, because for me, injuries is a legit excuse. I know it's a grind, I know all that stuff, but having a key player injured is a legit excuse for why your team loses. So when people be like, oh, the Pacers busted Knicks' ass, no, they didn't. The Knicks was injured. That's a legit excuse to say that's the reason why the Pacers won that thing. So when people hear other people talk about injuries and they go, "Oh, you can't use that as an excuse," yes, the fuck you can, because it's legit.
Yeah, but no,
the series would be different. The reason why the Knicks lost was because they were injured.
But you're not wrong in your sentiment. But this is this goes to that barbershop mentality of thinking, where it's like, yo, yeah, no excuses, things like that. But here's the thing: every person on that bench, from number 1 to number 12, 13, 14, is a professional. You get yourself up and you get ready to play no matter what. Yes, certain talents are better than other talents. There's no question about that. But you are, like Ed said, if you were on that bench, you are of that 1% who made it. Get on the court and act like it. That's really what it is. Yeah, you can make the excuse of, yeah, my top or the top of the line player on the team is down. But with Halliburton down, they still kept that game hella close last night.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're still fucking professionals. You're still athletes that are getting paid to be the best at what you do, regardless of how much time you get to see on that court. What's up,
and
mute yourself.
My issue with that too is a little bit like this, right? If I'm the 8th man, 9th man, right, and I'm getting more time because Halliburton is out, there's not much I can do. Because if I start trying to do too much, I'm going back to that fucking bench. They're not going to let me try to do what Halliburton does. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still going to be playing at my level. If I try to make extra shots, if I try to take shots that my team doesn't want me to take, I'm going back to the bench.
No, so hold on. I'm
sorry. Hold up. But you're not wrong. But again, and this is where credit to Rick Carlisle, because you got to put your chess pieces in a position to succeed. You can't have your rooks not rooking. You can't have your knights not knighting. And he put the pieces that he had to replace Halliburton to keep that game as competitive as it is. That's what makes Rick Carlisle so good at his job, is because he's like, okay, I got this 8th guy. This is what he can do. It's all to take it back to wrestling, because to me, hashtag everything is wrestling. It's that Paul Heyman line: accentuate your strengths, cover up your weaknesses. And Rick Carlisle is very, very good at doing that, and it's why the game was as competitive as it was. It inevitably, talent cream rises to the top, and that's what happened with the Celtics. But credit to that's where coaching comes into play.
Ed, here's where he is wrong, because the name of the game is to get out there and win, regardless of there's no such thing as steal and shine in the playoffs. In my opinion, you're trying to fucking win the game. Yeah, you could bust your ass one game and then be on the bench the next game. That's just the way that the flow goes. But you do whatever you can, how you can, and when needed to win the game. You don't go out. If you go out there with the mentality of, I'm still the 8th man off the bench and I got to play my role and shut my mouth, you shouldn't even be on the fucking court. You shouldn't be on the field. Plain and simple. Go ahead, TJ.
That's a fact.
So Carlisle coached the game to make the weakest person beat them. And you know who beat the Pacers last night? Al Horford went 7 from 12 from 3-point land. Yep. That was the difference maker in that entire game last night. Every shot he was wide open, he hit. And they sent doubles at Tatum. They sent doubles at Brown at the basket. Who was open in the corner? Old ass Al Horford knocking down the wide open 3. Carlisle did his job. First of all, the Pacers are a weak team defensively, period. So they already had that strike against them. They don't rotate as well as the Knicks do when they to cover up an open man. So Al Horford was the difference maker in that game. You can't leave somebody open and let them shoot 7 threes. You got to keep a body on him at that point. Especially if he made 4. You got to recognize that, he's hot. And we got to force him to make a difficult shot. But be in the corner alone, uncontested, and nobody within 10 feet of him, he's knocking it down.
Right. Now, I'm going to go back to you. I'm gonna go back to you, Tyrone, because you did get hot after my comments. But Brian's comment here kind of simplifies towards the end. In the point that I was making, he said, "Trust me, Cornette, P, Hauser, and Brissett are keys to us winning. They come in, they do their job, D up, hit your shots, make the right play. That's all I'm saying. And if you happen to be like a quote unquote with us Knicks, a Deuce McBride, and you come out and ball out, that took nothing away from Jalen Brunson.
Nope.
That just added to the mix. And that's the point that I'm trying to say. In if you are the ninth man off the bench, to go one lower than your eighth man analogy, if you are the ninth man and you could come in a game and set fire to the fucking game, you do that. As long as it fits within whatever the scheme is going on, whatever your role is on the floor. If you, like you said, Al Horford, if you happen to be the lone open man, i.e., like when Josh Hart hit the fucking wide open three to clinch us that game, they would never leave Josh Hart. I mean, they leave Josh Hart that open, but how many people get trusted to shoot them shots like that sometimes? Not many, especially not a guy like him. Or Al Horford, which is funny. Al Horford, yes, he's getting old. Al Horford used to always be able to drain threes. So to leave a guy like him, who's always kind of been a semi-decent shooter, open is a bit crazy. But no matter what your role is at that time, you still give 100%. I'm not saying you're going to go out there and try to score 50 or 100 coming off the bench. But the point I've been trying to say is, you play your role to the best of the ability. You don't never go out there with the notion of, oh, I'm lesser than, and I'm the fucking 12th man off the bench. So now I gotta play like it. That's my point in all of it.
Don't be Carlton.
My notion wasn't saying you go out there with the mentality that you're lesser than. My notion was saying that you go, okay, so here's my scenario. You play 5 minutes a game or whatever, you get up maybe 2 or 3 shots a game. That's your role. That's what you do. That's how you roll. But now Halliburton's out. Now you're getting 10 minutes. Now your mentality might be, hey, I'm getting 10 minutes, but I still got to play my role. But like sometimes you might think, okay, I'm getting more minutes. I'm getting more time. I'm replacing this superstar. I got to do more. And in that process of doing more, you go outside of your role a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because you're trying to step up. You're trying to be better. You're trying to help your team because the guy is out. But at the same time, if you're used to taking 3 shots per game in your team and everybody's used to you taking 3 shots per game and your ass takes 7 and you ain't hitting, they going
yeah.
What are you doing, homie?
Hold on. You're actually valid there, in my opinion. If it's not working. I knew you was kind of gonna spin it to there. If it's not working, I get you. But go ahead, TJ.
No, because in practice, you're not taking 3 shots per game. You practice against first squad. You getting up as many shots as you fucking possibly can. You trying to show the coach I'm shining. I can take somebody's spot if I have to. I can run somebody off the bench if I have to. Yes, we're talking about practice.
Yeah. You can take 20 shots in practice and miss all 20 of them. Nobody gives a fuck. You take 20 shots in the playoff game and you miss all 20 of them. You might get beat the fuck up at the end of the night. You know what I'm saying? It's a big difference, bro.
Game 3.
But
not if you're hitting. Not if you're hitting.
But again,
not if you're hitting.
You're a hero. But you gotta find that balance between hero and zero, dog. You got.
But again, it's. I was talking.
What do they say? What do they say?
Go ahead. What did they say?
Real quick, I was saying, what did they say? Oh, you don't see what we see he does in practice. He does this all the time. That's the first thing they say out of the guy's mouth. Oh, you should see him. He makes shit like that all the time in practice. Those are the first things that came out of his mouth. So yes, we talk about practice. Go ahead.
All I'm gonna say to that point as a Brooklyn Nets fan is I hear that about Ben Simmons, and I'm still waiting to see that. So I'm gonna have to throw a flag on that play. Just for a second. Allegedly, Ben Simmons is Reggie Miller in practice. I've never seen it outside of the bubble, but I digress. Not about the Nets. But to Tyrone's point,
dudes at the Y, Ed. He's cooking dudes at the Y, bro.
Him and his bad back. But to Tyrone's point, you're basing your premise on if he misses. But again, that's on the coach to determine if this guy's not cutting it. He's got to pull him and put the next man up. And again, it goes back Brad Stevens should really be the executive of the year because again, he had the foresight, knowing that the unicorn is fragile. He had the foresight to keep Al Horford around to be like, and Al Horford is a professional enough to be like, hey, I know I'm going to get my shot. This kid's always kind of hurt. He helped with the load management of KP during the season. So they had this foresight of next man up and having some sort of quality and compensation to make up. Look, KP is unique in his skill sets. You're not going to get his production from Horford, but you got enough of what he does well for them to win that game last night. They know how to put these G Leaguers that they have as backups in positions to succeed so that, you know, you can't go in there with the mentality that if I miss 7 shots, I'm going to get benched. No, you got to go and take the shots and then see where it goes. It's on the coach to manage the expectations and to manage the players as far as like whether they're getting the job done or not.
Now, on the flip side of your argument, you know, you're always going to have that Pat Riley, John Starks 2 for 18 night, where he finally admits that one of the worst coaching mistakes I made in my life was keeping John Starks in that game.
Oh, he rode with the horse that got him there. Oh, he rode with the horse that got him there.
Shoot.
Nah, see, that's the extreme we're talking about.
But he had
an all-star. He had an all-star on that bench.
Well, we always say though we shoulda, coulda, woulda after the fact. After the fact, like TJ said, you ride the horse that got you there.
Plus, I think it's an ego thing. Riley's got a very big ego and thinks very highly of himself. So for him to admit wrong, it's going to take a couple of decades and people dying off and forgetting it. So there is that.
As he should think highly of himself. As he should.
Oh my God.
Oh boy.
Oh man, you got it. Oh man.
It ain't ego, it's fact. It ain't ego, it's fact, brother. Don't ever talk on Riley.
Hey, most of those chips the Lakers got, they were playing with plumbers and carpenters on the team. You know what I'm saying?
Allegedly.
And I mean, Kurt Rambis was kind of a borderline plumber, but I'm not gonna mock. I'll leave him alone. I'll leave Kurt Rambis alone.
He looked like my local dentist.
While we on it though, Tyrone had another question about when it came to basketball and the hype and hysteria about one Miss Caitlin Clark.
My thing is this, right? I don't know what is the problem. Like the fact of the matter is that Caitlin Clark put eyes on women's college basketball, and Caitlin Clark is putting eyes on the WNBA. And for me, it's just this thing. They're building up this thing between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese that's not real, and they're doing a whole bunch of shit. And my thing is this. Just
hold on. You're telling us your problems about an issue off of a question that you didn't set a table on.
No, I don't have a question. I'm saying that. What do you guys think about all of this Caitlin Clark bullshit? Like it's amped up, and now you got Jamel Hill, and you got all these people talking about how it's because she's white, and it's because of this, and it's because of that. And I'm like, this is what they do to every suit. Like, what am I missing here? So that's the question. What am I missing about this Caitlin Clark shit?
That's my bad, Ed.
No, go ahead.
This is one of the things I gotta help you with. Like when you're setting a table for something for us, like you don't lead it with your opinion without giving us the question. Like give us the question, then let us formulate our opinion.
It's not a
then
question.
You give us your opinion.
It's not really a question. It is. Y'all know what's going on with Kate. Do anybody? Y'all know
what's going on? I'm gonna lawyer up yet again for you. Yeah. Again, I know I'm a guest, but I'm a lawyer up for you. It's not so much a question. I think what you're really asking is what's the disconnect between the criticism of Caitlin and the actuality of what she's doing. Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Okay.
That's how you frame it.
Okay, maybe I didn't know what the question was. Okay.
So to your point, I think the disconnect isn't Caitlin. The disconnect isn't the league. The disconnect is that you have these bum men, specifically men, that are clout chasing, click writers, tweet likers that they get their shots off, quote unquote, on what's trending, and know jack about the WNBA, know jack about Caitlyn, that know jack about this league, and that just a year ago we're crapping on this league, now trying to click ride the success of these women. And so what you're having is that the loudest voices, the usual suspects, the same assholes that have bad takes about the NBA, bringing that nonsense to the WNBA. And what happened is that the WNBA was thirsty for like, hey, we need a bigger tent so that we can bring more people in. And they let people in. Unfortunately, they let in a lot of assholes who don't know jack shit about shit. And so part of it is my favorite term this year has been bad faith actors. There's a lot of bad faith actors trying to ride the success of this wave of this league for their own likes and clout and whatever that is. I think that's what it is. It's just we're paying attention to the wrong people.
Well, but that's one thing to all of this. But here's my point of view on all this hysteria but going on within Caitlin Clark, and now everybody's like, oh, what the fuck? What is oh, look how bad she's playing. What is she doing? Like, yo, here's the perspective that I heard, I think, one person talk about, right? She's a rookie playing once again against the 1% of 1%ers in women's basketball. So when you're in college, you can be the 1% of a team of 50%ers. Where what she did in Iowa, she wasn't the only one who scored all the points, obviously. But when you talk that thing of carrying a team on your back, Caitlin Clark absolutely did that in Iowa. Now she's on a team with somebody who, my bad, was the same thing in college in Aaliyah Boston. She has her on her team. She's playing with others who were the best of the best on some of their teams, playing against other people who were the best of the best of the best on their teams, on the European teams they play for, so on and so forth. And then again, the game gets notched up a little bit differently when you're playing for money, i.e. professional sports.
It gets more physical too.
So now you're not gonna get all them easy free shots. Have I been seeing her jack from like 30 recently? Yes. Has she been hitting? Yes. But did she also score 9 points in a game the other day? Yes. Why? The defense is that much tougher. The competition is that much stiffer. Well, no pause on the women, but it's not easier, and it's not supposed to come from that easy. Like not every player out there, like LeBron James is a rare one. Kobe had a lot.
Kobe had his struggles.
But you know what I'm saying? But LeBron James is one of the rare ones who, when he stepped out from high school, was literally able to toe-to-toe with the best of the best. You know what I'm saying? That don't come around that often. And I think that's a part of the assumption that people assumed with Caitlin Clark was supposed to happen because she's such a great shooter. But now she's got a real defense.
And we took that for granted. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just really quick to Dan's point. LeBron is an anomaly. Like that dude was built like an offensive linebacker. He's bigger than Brian Urlacher at his prime. So him coming into the league the way he did, he's just a rare anomaly. So you can't compare anyone. You can't compare anyone to Bron. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So
I was just about to say the same thing. Like, when LeBron did it, we all took it for granted. But looking back now, it's like, yo, goddamn, this kid was coming out of high school. And he was putting up numbers since his first year on. And same thing with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark, modern era, has put up the best college, some of the best college numbers that we've seen. And before she stepped on that court in the WNBA, you had veterans, you had stars come in and say, yeah, she ain't gonna be able to do that bullshit. Saying things that they would say in their circles, they were saying it for everybody, so everybody could hear it. So then when you see plays like you know what happened to Angel Reese last night, it kind of lets you know, like, okay, these players that are in now, the veterans, they are not. What's the word I'm looking for? It's like they hold some type of animosity towards these two players.
It's not that they're not going to get shown up on their court. They're not going to get shown up on their court.
Yeah, TJ took the same thing. Building on what TJ said. These are competitors. Like you're not. I get competitive on the part, or when I used to play, and so and if I see some kid like trying to like tear up the old dudes, I'm gonna take that personal. And these are competitive women. They don't hate Angel Reese. They don't hate Caitlin Clark. It's just that one-on-one, when it's time to suit up and it's time to hit the court, I'm not letting that person, I don't care if she's Angel Reese, Angel Gonzalez, Angel whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm not letting anyone take my cookies. I'm not letting anyone disrespect me. That is the nature and competitiveness of being at that level.
This is why you need Charles Oakley on your team.
Somewhere.
Here's the ask point. And here's the ask point about people who are in it that don't know what the fuck they talking about, don't know how the fuck things work, right? So all of these people that are saying, oh, Caitlin Clark's getting more media attention than Angel Reese, but Angel Reese is playing better than Caitlin Clark in the WNBA and all that. These are the people that don't know shit about what they're talking about. Caitlin Clark is the sexy media pick because she does what Angel Reese doesn't do. Caitlin Clark is like Steph Curry. Caitlin Clark is exciting. She makes the shots. And she's doing the same thing in the WNBA that she was doing in college. She's running off the pick and roll. She's getting her shot. She's hustling. She's doing her thing. It's just different because of different defense, right?
And I'll go to your point.
No, here's the thing. Angel Reese is not the sexy media darling. Angel Reese is the hustle girl. She's the rebounder. She's the hard worker. She's the inside the paint. So she's not sexy to the media, but she's doing her same thing. She's not above her role. She's doing the same thing in college that she did for. So leave these fucking girls alone.
But to your point, to agree to build on that, Angel Reese is doing things that Caitlin's not doing. Angel Reese is at the Met Gala. Angel Reese is hanging out with Megan Thee Stallion. Angel Reese is promoting the sport to a different audience than Caitlin Clark. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is all great for the league. Everybody eats, to take one of my favorite terms from Peyton Poole. So it's like these girls are doing their job promoting the league, maybe to different audiences. Maybe people want to turn this into black and white. But at the end of the day, these are just competitors.
And I'm glad you just said that last point of maybe it is just black and white. Because to be honest with you, at the bottom of it all, it absolutely is that. And just here's the level of perspective, because how long have they been waiting for, and I'm just saying they meaning people, masses, media, things like that. How long have they been waiting for a great white athlete to shine like this? There hasn't been
Sue
many.
Bird is a phenomenal.
Diana Taurasi is phenomenal too.
She's got all the accolades.
Right, but again, it's not about any of that too. There's just a separate thing of like what Tyrone and Ed was just mentioning, though, in selling the game.
So
how do you do that? And here's how she did that. She went and eclipsed men's scoring records in the NCAA. Sue Bird didn't do that. And these are my Huskies we talking about. You know what I'm saying? When we're talking, you know, with the direct comparison, we're throwing in that name of Asia Wilson. There wasn't the same marketable push behind her. But Caitlin Clark, I'm gonna keep it real. They've been looking for something like this. Plus, again, her, along with the Angel Reeses and the women from South Carolina, like they just put a different bat. It's just a matter of timing. Let's keep it real. It's a matter of timing because they put a different battery in the back of the sports-minded people that it's like, yo, we have to make, we got to start paying attention to them. But to prop one person at the top, it ain't that far-fetched to say, yeah, part of it is because she's white. It really is. Part of it is that. It's not about the talent is there. But part of it is yes, it is because she's white. But guess what? Go bringing it back to the beginning. she's taking her lumps just like every other professional athlete does. And it doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that she sucks. She's got growing pains to go through. And unfortunately, when you are at the top, when you're looked at as being one of the best of the best at your sport, you're going to have to take lumps, fair or unfair. You're going to take lumps across the board.
We got to take a moment and realize this moment in time where I'm about to say that I agree with Dan. I know it hurts. We're going to have to take a moment. I agree with Dan because the simple fact that the CJ, you brought up Sue Bird, you brought up Diane, you brought up Taurasi. We could talk about Becky Hammon and what she did as a player, what she's doing as a coach, right? We can talk about all that, but guess what? We didn't have the media that we have today. Sue Bird didn't bring that attention. Taurasi didn't bring that attention. So now that we have the media that we have today, Caitlin Clark is the white hope that they never had before. And because the WNBA didn't have this kind of attention now. So and then when we got Angel Reese, a black person that's going to the Met Gala, that's doing all these things to bring attention to the WNBA, and not to be saying this in a bad way, but the whites got to outshine that. And Caitlin Clark is their only hope of outshining that. You see what I'm saying? They can't have Angel Reese be the face of the WNBA, and they got Caitlin Clark going up there.
Especially in a black-dominated sport. Especially in a black-dominated sport that's for the past 20, 30, 50 plus years.
You think Paige is gonna have that same hype going on next year?
Depending on what she does in college, no.
Depending on the tournament, I think it all depends on how she looks and the attention that this tournament gets. I think Paige is in a great position, but it's not. I think the most misunderstood thing is it's not just Caitlin. This draft class is so generational. Cameron Brink is really, really good. Her teammate, oh man, I'm blanking on her name right now. But she plays for the LA Sparks. Her teammate is playing really well. I mean, you got Cardozo who's playing alongside. They were enemies and now they're friends, Cardozo and Angel Reese. So it's just it's one of I often compare this to what Bird and Magic did for the league. People forget that this league used to be on tape delay. That the NBA finals were pre-recorded. There were no spoilers, obviously, but they used to be on tape delay. And until Bird and Magic, and a rivalry that started in college, came to the pros, all of a sudden, I think it was CBS at the time, was like, oh, snap, we got something here. And so in a lot of ways, this era's with more digital platforms and more eyeballs of Bird versus Magic. And I think they merit those comparisons thus far, both in what they're doing on the court and their growing pains, as well as what they're doing to the business of the sport.
And just to revert back real quick to a big old point of Paige Bueckers, she was this her freshman year. She was this. Injury kind of set her back. UConn not being the UConn that we know kind of also put a push back on that too. But Paige Bueckers, she was one of the first women who got the NIL deal. Crazy money. Paige was it. But Paige, injury-wise, kind of did it.
That set her back. Yeah. Again, we go back to that injury thing.
That hurt her stock. That hurt her stock.
Here's my thing about Paige, though. I don't think that she's ever going to be able to do what Caitlin Clark has done or what Angel Reese has done, simply for the fact that this season, Paige Bueckers was the best overall player in college basketball. If you look at overall, like everything as far as like assists and points and everything that she does on the court, she was the best overall player, and nobody paid her no mind.
She might now
being a star, you know what I mean?
She might now because Caitlin's moved on to the WNBA, so now she can get her shine that way. But circling back to Caitlin Clark and people thinking that she was going to just be this prodigy transferring from college to the WNBA and not have played one WNBA game in her life yet, not knowing the speed of the game, transition, what defenses are, and going against grown-ass adults and not just her peers in college is ridiculous. You just not, like he said, it's an anomaly to do that. There's very few people that can do that.
Here's what it really is, TJ. And again, I'm talking about one of my lady Huskies over here, right? But if Paige Beckers is breaking records like Caitlin Clark just did, the conversation could be different.
Yeah, she'll get that shot.
But she probably won't.
She's not that player.
So, you know what I'm saying? She
doesn't have to be. I think also it's also going to depend on what happens at USC. If we get in the Final Four, whether in the Final Fours or in the finals, USC against UConn, you're telling me you're not going to watch what Juju's doing out there in USC? USC is building a monster out there. And so sometimes it's not just the talent itself. Yeah. Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi did not have – Ali needed Frazier. John Jones needed Daniel Cormier. The Yankees needed the Red Sox. You need a rival to order to build these narratives.
And
USC versus UConn.
You need a bad guy. You need
it. But I think to summarize all of this up, you need that perfect storm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You really just need the perfect storm. And that's what happened with Caitlin Clark. She put us on notice the year before with her 3-point shooting ability. And then what happened with the showing the fake ring that she never got against LSU and all that. And then LSU bong. And then again, like we said, they built the Angel Reese Caitlin Clark rivalry up between the two teams, but it was the perfect storm of that rivalry was there. Iowa trumped LSU this season. Plus, she broke an all-time scoring record in the NCAA. That's really where I kind of ended all the hang the hat. Like, she did some shit that not even another man could do. Perfect storm. Great just anomaly of just holy shit moments that made many. Well, again, I paid attention to the WNBA for years. Do I do it hardcore? Do I remember names and stats and all of that? No. But I've made it a point to always watch. Like I said before in this show, at one time I watched more women's college basketball ever than I do men's college basketball. I'm Liberty. One of the few New York teams I support is the Liberty from day one.
I love Sabrina. Huge Sabrina fan here.
You know what I'm saying? I'm glad we got Stewie and all. Like, I love Stewie. Mm-hmm. I love the whole UConn shit. But
they got a super team in New York.
Yes, but it's the perfect.
Oh yes, they do.
It just happened to be that combination of all shit clicking at the same time on all cylinders, and I salute them. I'm happy for it. I'm not one of these dudes that's all of a sudden picking it up, or like the homie Curtis tried to joke in the comments, but women don't dunk. Yeah, all right. That's never been a fucking reason, because there are women that are out there dunking. It's just not dunking.
I don't care. I'd rather see a pretty pass anyway. I'd rather see a pretty pass in the open shot. Boom. And I'm good. Like, I don't
dunking at Tennessee though.
Yeah, but they don't pay when you don't watch it and you don't know. You don't know. You don't see it, you don't know. You don't know.
Look. What was that Nick guy? Kenny Walker can dunk. That doesn't mean he's any good. I'm sorry. Or Kenny Skywalker. Yeah, I went there. Like, there's D Brown can dunk. Doesn't mean he's any good. Like, who cares you can dunk? Screw that. Like, it's such a troglodyte talking point that it's just so tiring, man.
And there's a reason why all of those
it's still 2 points. It's still 2 points.
But there's a reason why all of them professional freestyle dunkers ain't in nobody's league other than the rec league.
They're at the Y. They're playing for like money at the Y instead of in the league. So I'm sure there's plenty of great dunkers out there. There's plenty of great dunkers out there dunking on a bunch of Alex Caruso looking dads. Don't mean that they belong in the league either. So
and then also there's plenty of Brian Scalabrinis who, once again, 12th man on the bench, but will cook your ass off the court.
Cook your ass.
Yep.
But like Curtis said, he
got one of these.
Baby.
Like Curtis said, a good women's team is a great team, period. Yeah, word. Well, who's not a great team, Big O, is whoever created that fucking Apple 100 list. I didn't pay attention to it fully, to be real with you. I didn't really pay attention to it. I heard the scuttlebutt as soon as I seen who was number one, I was just like, throw this whole list away. I guarantee you she didn't even come on time for the announcement of this list.
Hey, yo.
That was fucked up.
Yo, wait a minute. This is my first time seeing this list. Thriller is number 2?
But
come on, dogs.
Let's go.
I don't know how Fleetwood Mac Rumors is number 11 and not in the top 10. That is again, if someone is a music fan, not beyond going one genre, I don't understand how Fleetwood Mac is 11. They should be in the top 10.
So
I don't get it.
What we'll do right now, everybody can read this list, right?
It's kind of small.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll each read 10. Start from you, TJ. Read 10, 100 to 90.
Oh, you got to scroll up for me. You got to scroll up for me.
Zoom in.
I'm at 77. I can see.
Yo,
I don't know how you're at 77 when I'm at 100. Oh, you're looking at the wrong spot, but I'm right here. Let's see if I zoom in a little bit.
No.
Zoom in a little bit.
I'll pull it up on my phone. Hold on.
Yo, we
you
sat
read
here
that?
and did a show.
Can y'all see that?
Did a show on
No, that's not helping.
I can see it.
90s albums, 90s hip hop albums, and they clearly did not take consideration into that shit because none of the albums that made our list that were in the final four is not on this list.
Again, I mean, it's this whole shit is subjective anyway. This whole thing is subjective. Ed, we'll start with you. We wrote you from 100 to 90. Go.
Read the 10, the 100 to the 90.
Yeah, I'm gonna go from bottom up.
Okay, so 100 is Body Talk by Robin.
All right.
99 is Hotel California, The Eagles. 98 is Astroworld, Travis Scott. 97 is Rage Against the Machine, Rage Against the Machine. 96 is Pure Heroin, Lordy. 95 is Usher with Confessions. 94 is Untrue with Burial. Untrue is the album, Burial's the band. A Seat to the Table by Solange, 93. 92 is Flower Boy by Tyler, the Creator. 91 is Listen Without Prejudice, George Michael. And number 90 is Back in Black by AC/DC, which is insane that it's that far down, but whatever. I'm not going to get in my feelings about it.
Big O.
That's 90. That's crazy. I'm not even a hard rock fan. And for that to be at 90 is crazy.
Big O, 89 to 80.
All right, what is it here? Fame Monster by Lady Gaga. I Put a Spell on You by Nina Simone. 87 Blue Lines by Massive Attack. 86 My Life Mary J. Blige. So fucking low, man. Golden Hour, Casey Musgraves. Doggy Style, Snoop Dogg. Horses by Patti Smith. This is another one. I had a problem with, man.
Just read.
Get Rich or Not Trying. 50 Cent. After the Gold Rush, Neil Young.
You got two more.
And Marshall Mathers, Eminem.
Yo, the disrespect for Neil Young. Like, yo, what does Ebro know about? You know what? I'm shut up.
DJ, 79 to 70, please.
Who's that, me or Lisper?
TJ, 79 to 70.
Norman Rockwell, Lana Del Rey at 79. 78, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, Elton John.
Travesty.
77, Like a Prayer. Madonna, Disrespectful. Una Verano Sin Ti by Bad Bunny.
Hey, you got the accent right.
7 for Bad Bunny. Super Duper Fly, 75 by Missy Elliott, Crime. The Downward Spiral, 74 by 9 Inch Nails.
Oh, that
Asia by Steely Dan. That's Criminal. SOS at 72 by SZA. 71 Trans Europe Express. What? This is fucking hip hop. Never mind. Kraftwerk at 70, Straight Outta Compton, another genre changing album by NWA. I don't know who was the curator of this list, but they can either
Ebro was on this. Ebro was one of the.
Nah, Ebro said he wasn't in the room, man.
69 and 60.
No black people were.
69 is Master of Puppets by Metallica. 68 is This It by The Strokes. 67 is Dummy by Portishead. 66 is The Queen
Another
is
great
Dead
band.
by
How
The
is
Smiths.
how is that?
65 is Three Feet High and Rising by De La Soul. 65. Bottleism by Erykah Badu. 64. 63 is All You Experience, the Jimi Hendrix Experience. 62 is All Eyes on Me. Hold on. I don't even like Tupac.
These last.
You know what I mean? 61 is Love Deluxe by Sade. I never agreed to this one. And
Criminal
is The Velvet Underground and Nico by The Velvet Underground and Nico.
Now I just want us. The point I'm trying to do now is we're going to read the whole list. Then we're going to give our gripes, because a lot of this is obviously it's a subjective thing. There's a lot of things that I would put over a whole bunch of shit. How much a lot of this list we probably didn't even listen to be fair. But 59 AM by Arctic Monkeys. See, there's one I never heard of before. Morning Glory by Oasis. Voodoo by D'Angelo. Disintegration, The Cure.
That's criminal.
Rihanna. Love Supreme, John Coltrane. Exile on Main Stage, The Rolling Stones. Appetite for
That's
Destruction,
criminal.
Guns N' Roses. Sign of the Times,
Criminal.
Prince. Hounds of Love, Kate Bush. Big O, 49.
Joshua Tree, U2. 48.
Huge album for them.
Paul's Boutique, Beastie Boys. 47. Take Care by Drake. You have Exodus by
Out of
Bob
here.
Marley.
Not even on the list.
Bob Marley and the Wailers. You have Homogenic by Bjork. Inner Visions by Stevie Wonder. Remain in Light.
Somebody needs to get slapped.
By Talking Heads. Control by Janet Jackson. 41 is a criminal. 41. I never loved a man the way I love you, Aretha Franklin. It's 40.
Ed.
39 Illmatic, Nas. 38 Tapestry, Carole King. 37 Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers, Wu-Tang Clan. 36 Beyonce. 35 London Calling, The Clash. Jesus Christ, It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back. Eesh. Public Enemy number 34. 33 Kid A and Radiohead. That's not even their best album. What are we doing here? 32 Ready to Die, Notorious B.I.G. Actually, this thing one is pretty on point. Jagged Little Pill, Alanis Morissette. It's about where it should be. When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Billie Eilish. I can't comment on that because I've never heard. That was number 30.
Another classic.
Low End Theory by Tribe Called Quest at 29. The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, 28. 27 is
Too Low. That's a dope album.
Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin 2 there is criminal.
Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West. 25, Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. 24, The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from David Bowie. 23 is Discovery by Daft Punk. 22, Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen. And 21 is Revolver by the Beatles. And 20 is Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys.
TJ, we're rounding out the top 20. Now, if I count correctly, if everything y'all said Criminal 2 should be in this top 20. Which is there isn't a place for everybody. But
yes.
Go ahead, TJ. 19.
There's people that shouldn't be on this list, Dan.
Let's go.
There's people that shouldn't be on this list. All right. So 19 is The Chronic by Dr. Dre. 18, 1989, Taylor Swift. I'll never listen to that album. 17, What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. 16, Blue by Joni Mitchell. 21 by Adele, Way Too High. Highway 61 Revisited by Bob Dylan. I don't know, maybe. 13, The Blueprint by Jay-Z. I don't think that's his best album.
Nope.
12, OK Computer by Radiohead. Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. I kind of feel like Ed. 10, Lemonade by Beyonce. Not in the top 10 album. Nevermind by Nirvana. I'll accept it at 8.
And
Good Kid, Mad City by Ken.
Good Kid, Mad City at 7. At the Back to Black from Amy Winehouse at 8. Good Kid, Mad City at 7. Stevie Wonder's Sign of the Songs in the Key of Life at number 6. Frank Ocean's Blonde at number 5. Purple Rain at number 4. The Beatles' Abbey Road at number 3. Thriller at number 2. And now we can have at it the most egregious overall. The Miseducation.
Frank Ocean will tell you he's not a top 5 album of all time. He'll tell you that himself.
I don't know about that because I can tell with this list, it is actually a good mix of different eras, different styles, different genres, and all that good stuff. Frank Ocean's music, I don't even think that was the album. I think it was the Channel Orange or whatever. Whatever was his first. If that was his first, I don't remember.
That wasn't the album.
The first album.
His first album. His first album was phenomenal.
That was the album that people was going bananas over.
Yes.
But
they don't consider it an album though.
Right.
That was the argument.
But my problem with this list is just that number one, the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill is just absurd to me. She ain't gonna show up on time to get that award. That's number one. Number two, it's a good album. It's a good album.
It's a great album, but
for me, I'm gonna pull up so many different other albums that I way better than that in my opinion. But again, it's only my opinion. This is only our opinion. But so out of that top 10, and we'll strictly just go from this list that everybody was looking at. If everybody got it pulled up, how would because you were going with us so much that what are you replacing out of that top 10?
You must have a lot of time in your hands, sir.
Not really, but just give us. I'll reshare the top 10 and all that, and just give a few.
Blonde is coming off that top 10. Okay, Lemonade is coming out of that top 10, and everything else, I don't have a problem with.
You really?
Thriller should be number one. The Thriller is the most successful album ever. So how anyone in that room argued and said that Thriller should be number 2 is a problem for me. You know.
What's Criminals Off the Wall didn't even make the list.
Off the Wall, I was gonna say this. Off the Wall did not make the list.
Off the Wall didn't make the list.
Which is fucking crazy. Okay? Purple Tape did not make the list. Purple Tape didn't make 100.
It shouldn't. Oh, stop it.
Come on now.
It wasn't even the best. It wasn't even the best solo Wu album. How about that? And that's my opinion. It wasn't even. That's
an argument we could all sit down and have.
And that's an album. And that's an album I have in so many fucking iterations. I got a box set cassette tape. I got the purple vinyl. I probably have the original vinyl somewhere.
What's better than Purple Tape?
And it's still not better. It's still not the best solo Wu album.
What's better than Purple Tape?
Liquid Sword, Iron Man, and Uncontrollable Substances. I like. Then I'll put the Purple Tape.
We can have a discussion with Iron Man.
We could, but
Iron Man might be a push. Iron Man might be a push, man.
I like Only Built for Cuban Links better, to be honest.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Iron Man for sure.
Y'all don't have the connection to the Iron Man tape like I do. The Iron Man tape, and yes, I said on tape, because when I was competing in high school, that was my get ready music each and every meet.
That's a dope album, though.
Each and every track meet, that was my get ready music. That Iron Man album. But anyway, Ed, what do you have that I mean?
Around
out of this?
I'm definitely and I admit, because again, music is about emotion. Like we can't deny that music's about emotion, what you feel. Lemonade is getting all the way fuck out of here. I'd have Rumors up there in the top 10. I love Kendrick Lamar. Good Kid, Mad City was a dope album, but I'd have Illmatic there instead of that one, or even 36 Chambers. And that's no disrespect to Kendrick. Please don't diss me, Kendrick. Please, I've seen what you do. Radiohead. Again, a band that I really really like, but like they don't have the bends, and that's a better album than Kid A Kid. I'm sorry. That's the wrong Metallica album, I think. Like as much as that's my favorite Metallica album, the Black Album didn't make this list. How is that even possible? Miseducation is a dope album, top 20 for sure. But number one, I'd have Thriller up there. And Bad Bunny, as much as I love, and I do think it belongs on the list, I also feel like it was a charity case in a lot of ways to make sure that a Latino representation was there. I'm sure there's a lot of folks that like know way more about Latino music that can probably argue better than me what other album should be in there if we're going to do a charity case situation. I think with Bad Bunny, and I love Bad Bunny, to me, he does everything that Drake does, but better and in Spanish, in my opinion. And it's just, I feel like that's latest, greatest type of situation is because he's so popping right now and because he's so over that he's even on the list. And that's no disrespect to him. I just don't know if this was the right audience to be determining that.
Correct me if I'm wrong. It was only one Latino album on this list, right?
That in Spanish that I saw, or Latino artists that I saw, yeah, it was only Bad Bunny that I could just looking at this list.
Yeah,
absolutely. I don't think
unless it was somebody that's mixed that we didn't know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Man, the Smiths is so far down. I love 3 Feet High and Rising, not even their best album. De La Soul is Dead is a better album. I'm going to stop here because I can rattle on and on. Again, I don't want to diss Master of Puppets, but the Black Album, and I understand it's a controversial album among metalheads because it's a quote-unquote sellout album, but it's also the most commercial album they have. It's the one that sold the most records. Who doesn't know Enter the Sandman, regardless of whether you're black, white, Latino, whatever? Like, even Mariano learned that one, and he don't even speak English. Like,
Tyrone.
Of course, you can ramble on, but Dan did say top 10. So,
Tyrone.
Dan did say the top 10. What was your egregious with the top 10?
Oh, Tyrone.
Okay. Anyway, so Thriller, Abbey Road, Purple Rain, cool. I can make an argument for Miseducation of Lauryn Hill being in the top 10, maybe at 10, only because that was a mixture of hip hop, soul music, and R&B all in one album, and it worked. So I can see where this would be real high. I can be cool with it being at 10. Good Kid, Mad City. I think that To Pimp a Butterfly is better than Good Kid, Mad City.
I was going to say that.
So
I was going to say that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Blonde I haven't listened to, and the Amy Winehouse being in the top 10 at 8. I don't like that. It don't feel good in my spirit. And Lemonade shouldn't be on this list at all. At all.
Word. TJ.
So Lauryn Hill's getting booted. Frank Ocean's definitely getting booted. Beyonce's getting booted. Like we all agree, this is not Kendrick's best album. Kendrick is getting booted. They're all out of the top 10 in terms of, you know, I didn't even know how they got there in the first place. The rest of them, you know, you can argue for swapping positions. Thriller, everybody knows Thriller is a universally renowned album. Michael Jackson was selling out soccer stadiums around the world, like hundreds of thousands of people of every race, nationality, and culture fucking know Thriller. They know Billie Jean, they know Beat It, they know it all. They know the whole fucking album. All right. Thriller is universally the number one album, period. Stevie Wonder should be up in here. I personally think It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back should be much higher than where it is. That's an argument for top 15 in my book. Illmatic is in there for at least top 15. It's definitely way too low. Having not having Off the Wall on this list is criminally negligent. There's just I just want to see the folks who sat around and said this is the plan and how we're going to go about it. What was the criteria? If there was any criteria, who did it mean most to? Because this is a lot of bullshit right here. This whole list is crazy.
I know how they can solve all the problems with all these lists. I'm gonna tell you right now how to solve all the problems with all of these lists that these companies make, right? All we need is the same thing that they have in the NBA, in the NFL, in all of these sports leagues. We just need the box score. Give us the box score. You know what I'm saying? Put the list out and then put the box score next to it so that we can see what everybody scored.
That's not going to work for every album. That's not going to work for every. That's not going to work for every album.
I think your criteria.
Yeah.
No. At least if we're able to understand how you got here, maybe we'll accept it more.
Tyrone, here's why that's a problem. No, I don't understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, but I'm not agreeing with what you're saying. Because here's, for instance, this is why you don't put the book, quote unquote, box scores up. Because I used to have stupid arguments with my friends who used to do it just to get under my skin, but would really sit there and say that Nelly was a better rapper than KRS-One because Nelly sold more albums than KRS-One. This is why the box scores in this subjective conversation don't work. Now, again, I'm going to go now to who built it. Brian said from what Ebro said, it was a lot of 30-year-olds who were voting. There's your problem. And it's not that it's a problem because, once again, this shit is subjective. But
it could have been a more diverse panel. You needed a couple of older heads and a couple of younger heads to even out that panel.
We don't know the diversity of said panel to even make that call.
What?
I think Roger Niles was in the panel. So I actually think the list is actually very, very diverse because there's a lot of albums here that if it was an all-white panel, regardless of whether it's a 30-year-old or 50-year-old that wouldn't be here that are here, that I think there's an argument to be made. So there is a sense of diversity in this list. But that said, to Tyrone's point, there is no metric for music. Music is about emotion and what you feel. Like I would have Rage Against the Machine in the top 10. Right. And if none of y'all have it, I understand. That's not your vibe. That's not what you feel. And I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's the problem. Right. I saw Bomani Jones tweet about the list as I see they did that listing again. And y'all got caught up in the okie doke. And us included in this. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love these kind of conversations about music because you learn about other people's tastes. But music and comedy, it's like beauty. It's all in the eye of the beholder. You know what I mean? Like there's albums here. Beyonce wouldn't be anywhere near my top 100 because that is not my vibe. That is not my flow. Ditto Taylor Swift. That's no disrespect to their talents to them. Drake would be nowhere near my list. Absolutely, ever. He wouldn't be in my top 1,000 because I don't respect that man. But again, that's a me thing. that's a me thing. At the same time, I would have
Michael Jackson. You are not alone, Ed.
Yeah. At the same time, I would have Slayer, Rain and Blood, and people would be like, "What in satanic music is that?" And that's understandable where they're coming from. You know, I would have Pantera. So
Tyrone,
I get it.
Make your point so I can finally get my shit off.
No. Oh, here's my thing though. For me, a lot of my problem with this list, like when I see Lemonade at top 10, my mind goes to how the fuck did Lemonade get at top 10? I don't care how you look at it, how did Lemonade get at top 10? My thing is, how did some of these albums make the list? So for me, if I had the criteria and I had the box score of how the album got the list, I can be more understanding. Am I going to like it? No. Am I going to change my opinion? No. But at least I can go, okay, that's what they thought about this album. That's how this album got here. But without a criteria, I'm like, why the fuck is Lemonade even here? And that's why I'm saying the criteria would help me.
Right. I understand. No, I got what you were saying. But here's what a list like this is in my eyes. This is, hey, record labels, we're gonna help you push your classic shit.
Good point.
Hey, come to Apple Music.
You know what,
to
Dan?
come listen to
You know
these
what,
albums.
That's a great point.
Come to Apple Music to listen to these albums.
You know
that
what,
we
Dan?
ranked. Man, you hate this list, but have you heard this album?
Because,
You hit the nail right on the head, brother.
Yeah.
Because one of the things, where's the album at? And I've been hearing it said a lot recently. The Beach Boys' Pet Sounds. A lot of musicians talk about how that's like one of those flawless albums. I need to listen to it to hear why.
Yeah, I said that too.
And I've heard that over years, over time.
I've had hip hop
But
junkies,
damn,
metalheads. I've had
where's Bob James's album on here?
No, but see, make your point, Ed, and I'm gonna come back to that.
I've had hip hop heads, metal heads, and like punk heads tell me the same, that you got to listen to Pet Sounds. And same thing. It's funny you said that real quick about people listening to it, because I just recommended the album Rumors by Fleetwood Mac to my homeboy that's like 25 years old, and it's like talking about the list. I'm like, if you like Miseducation, my guy, you got to listen to this Fleetwood Mac album. Like, it's the ultimate beef album. They're talking about each other while they're playing and writing this album. You know what I mean? Like, and so that's a good point about like it helps sales with some of the older heads, older acts.
To that point, it's like this list like this can be educational pieces to people who haven't heard a lot of these shits. But like you said, at TJ's, it's like, well, where's Bob James, right? We're hip hop heads, we're rap fans, we're hip hop culture lovers. We're really only going to look at Bob James and Nautilus if you don't know more Bob James than that. You know what I'm saying? So again, like Big O, and no shots at Big O with the Only Built for Cuban Links, but personal connection to Only Built for Cuban Links. I want to see that shit way up higher. But compared to, and you got to mix in other genres, it's tough. But now to see, again, to go backwards a little, to see the blueprint this high for Jay-Z at 13, when that's not even my favorite Jay-Z album, it makes us like, really? But it was a heralded album when it came out. It was a herald. It was crazy when it came out. If out of all of these albums, now, you know, the constant debate of Thriller versus Off the Wall. For me, it's Off the Wall. Both albums are flawless albums, in my opinion. Shouts out to the Owner's Box. They were checking in on Instagram earlier. The homie Seuss says, he said it on their podcast, the Owner's Box, Off the Wall only misses by one song to him. And it's the disco record. The disco record. I think it's Dance, whatever, or Dance, whatever. I forgot the name of it.
Yeah.
But to me,
I was going to say, I'm sorry. I was going to say that a lot of people even argue that Off the Wall is better than Thriller.
Well, that's the point I'm making now. But
I personally like Off the Wall better than Thriller, but Thriller's a more commercially accepted album.
Successful album. But to me, Off the Wall is flawless, and especially the disco record, it fit the era in which it came out. That's why to me, it's a flawless album. Thriller is just a back-to-back. You hit back-to-back flawless albums. Like, honestly, I could have Michael Jackson at number 1 and number 2 and flip-flop either record at number 1 or number 2. But Miseducation in the top 50 is okay. Where you place it, it's up to you. But number 1, they're bugging. They're bugging. Frank Ocean over a lot of people. I'm not even putting Frank Ocean over D'Angelo's Voodoo album. And I like Brown Sugar better. You know what I'm saying?
And that wasn't even on there. That wasn't even on there.
Good Kid,
his first
Mad
album's
City,
not even listed on there.
Good Kid, Mad City, like Tyrone said, To Pimp a Butterfly was a masterpiece. Damn won a Nobel Peace Prize, and the shit wasn't even on this list. And I revisited Damn once since it came out because it just didn't hit for me. Because fucking To Pimp a Butterfly was a front to back flawless work of justice. But get your point out, Tyrone, so I can keep going.
Also, too, you got to look at, like I said, that's why it's you kind of can't judge the list almost. But like we all said, Thriller was better than Off the Wall. Thriller could have been better than Off the Wall to y'all, but what Thriller did as far as marketing was better for me because that Thriller video, that Beat It video, And let's not get to the Billie Jean with Mike and the Tuxedo stepping on the block, lighting them up.
I
and
was
shit.
all Quincy Jones, man.
You know what I mean? But that shit to me as a kid was like, Mike is on another level right here. So Thriller will never be surpassed for me because of how it was marketed, because of those videos, because that was the time where I was wearing my zipper jacket. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's kind of like it is emotional to you. You know what I mean?
It's subjective. The entire conversation is subjective. Like I wouldn't have. Go ahead, Ed. Go ahead.
I just wanted to shout out. I saw someone in the comments put Selena. Okay, I apologize for that. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I am the guest, so I apologize. But I wanted to shout out the person that said Selena over Bad Bunny. I actually had to look it up. Amor Prohibido is a much more influential album. You have people like Beyonce, who Beyonce says who's from Houston, Selena being from that San Antonio, El Paso area. Beyonce credits wanting to be like Selena growing up. There is no Lemonade, there is no other without that kind of influence. So it's a more influential album than the modern day Bad Bunny stuff. So I just wanted to give shout out to that person who had Selena there.
An influential, I mean, on that point, influential doesn't always mean better. Influential.
Selena was better though.
Yeah, well, better than Bad Bunny.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Well, I mean, different eras. Bad Bunny, Selena never wrestled in the WWF, and I'll leave that at that. I'll leave that at that.
That wasn't by choice, Dan. That wasn't by choice, Dan.
No, it was
wasn't
the
by
WWF
choice.
back at that time. And you know what? Yeah, it wasn't by choice because even back then they didn't respect the women in the ring. Ask Wendy Richter. Make your point, TJ, so I could keep going.
Well, no, keep going, and I'll make my point after because it's a long point. So go ahead.
Never mind. I'm not mad at, like y'all said, Beyonce Lemonade. Get it the fuck out of here. Get it. It says Selena does it. He said, but Zelina does though. You know, I mean, to be honest, for what's here on this list, like I said, Good Kid, Mad City. I think To Pimp a Butterfly is out of here, and I would put that at 5 over Blonde. I would get Blonde out of here. Songs in the Key of Life and Inner Visions, you could flip flop either one of them and have both of them in the top 10. The Chronic is an interesting debate at 19. Could that be in the top 10? Maybe. I think Doggy Style, as time went on, Doggy Style is actually better than the Chronic.
Agreed.
Right. Again, that goes back to the same argument.
Yes.
A lot of people could say, Doggy Style's better than the Chronic, Chronic better. It's I mean, like you said, it's subjective.
Yeah, I'm trying to scroll through.
And Doggy Style was like 90 something.
While you're scrolling, I'm gonna make my point, Dan. While you're scrolling,
the low end theory. Midnight Marauders should be on here, not Low End Theory.
Low End Theory was
both should be on there.
Was a classic album, but damn, man, that
Midnight
Marauders was right there.
Last point I'll make, and then you can have it, TJ. Shaolin Bias says Enter the Wu-Tang is top 10. Because if you want to add influence, if I see Tyrone disappointed him, but if you want to add influence into the conversation, that album was a huge game changer for what set pace for the 90s period. Well, go ahead, TJ.
So, Dan, as you know, every year we do our tournament, right? And every year, and I'm part of the committee that helps put the tournament together for best hip hop album, best rapper, best song, whatever.
Yeah, we know.
And we leave it to the public to establish the criteria. And they were like album sales, stage performance, album sales, stage performance, lyrics, influence, all this shit, right? Nobody can come to an agreement on it. And every year we put this list together. Every year somebody's crying over some bullshit. And we left it up to y'all to make this decision on how you wanted to determine the criteria for this list. And every year it's the same answer. It's fucking nothing. You're letting us do it, and then you want to cry and point fingers later back at us when we gave you the keys to the fucking kingdom, and you guys fumble the bag every year. So criteria on these lists are bullshit because they're all subjective. It's way too broad, and you can't narrow it down. These lists will never be perfect because you can't narrow it down. Albums mean something to you, Ed, more than they mean to me, then more than they mean to Dan. I don't know what you was going through when that album came out. I don't know where I was at when that album came out. You don't know where I was at when I first heard this song. I don't know where you was at when you heard first another song. These albums play so much. Songs and music are so triggering subconsciously. People don't even have an idea how much it affects them and changes their attitude, the way they think, how they feel, how they start their day. All right. That's how much music is so influential. If you're getting dressed in the morning, you hear the right song, you can fucking go out there and knock everybody out for the day. You can conquer the world. Nobody's gonna tell you shit because you heard the right song
or record
at the right time. And
or
nobody's gonna
be
able to fuck with you because you're going and you're gonna build off and you're gonna build that energy for the whole day. That's gonna shape your output for the whole day. It's happening to me. I can speak personally to it. The shit is too vague, too broad. It'll never be a perfect list. But there's just some common sense that you gotta put in there and have it like make it make sense. You have to have some make it make sense moments.
And that
some of this shit don't make sense on this list.
And that leads a lot to, and that leads a lot back to Tyrone's take of trying to establish some type of criteria. Now, like when BET did that like top rappers list a while back, like they tried to set a criteria, but then it felt like it became like just a blanket statement. This is how we all think. But even within some of those criterias, nah, I don't care that you sold more records. Like you just kind of was saying, the record that makes Tyrone happy could make me go rob a bank. It makes us feel different.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like a movie, for instance. Like you might love what, like Higher Learning is my example, TJ. Higher Learning might have made you want to go to a black college and join a fraternity. Right. But when I watch Higher Learning, once it starts to get to the end of that movie, I always want to fight.
Yeah.
For real.
Here's the best analogy, Dan. Here's the best analogy. You always know when you were going to get stuck up in the club when one or two certain songs came on. You knew it was the warning track to get the fuck out of there. Every club has
perfect example
has that song. When you hear that song, you're like, oh, it's time to fucking go because they're about to act the fuck up in here.
Brian just said, he said, I got amped today listening to Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego. And like that shit triggered. That shit triggered. Yo, but like you just said, TJ, like fucking Annie Up. That shit will cause a mosh pit in most clubs. When my boy dropped it in a club that's no longer here on Staten Island, The Wave, a kid got shot when Annie Up dropped. You never know what a song, what an album, whatever is gonna make you feel.
It's the same thing in Philly, dude. When we used to go out, Flipside used to come on, and Flipside hyped everybody up. But I knew as soon as Flipside went off, I had to go because people was amped up, and now something was gonna happen.
Right.
To that point, but a different side of the spectrum. Whenever back in the days, whenever they played Akinyele, I knew who I was gonna try to holler at. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it at that. Because
you know how you knew?
Hey, she knew all the words, eh? She knew all the words, eh?
Yes! Yes!
When I can learn that, put it in your mouth, and you look in the room, that one girl was going,
Rest in peace. Rest in peace to my homegirl Isa. But whenever that song came on, and I don't know what she did after that, but whenever that song came on, word for word was singing along with that record. Wow. And that's what I'm just talking. Connections. connections to music and shit that makes
And that's
it
when you
makes
do like
it
this.
tough. It makes it tough. It makes these lists tough. But here's
I'm
something.
gonna see you later.
Yeah.
He said, "Move, bitch, or Doodoo Brown." When
Yup,
Doodoo
another
Brown
one.
came on,
Yes.
with Doodoo
Yes,
Brown in the
another
club,
one.
it's like a freak scouting report. Word. But
Yo,
but
and what about the reggae block? When the reggae block came on, like, and I probably don't have the look, but when you play
Yo,
Flex,
Ed,
when they play
you
Flex,
took the words
yo,
right out of my mouth, brother.
I only know how to dance in the mosh pit and to like dance hard reggae. That is it. I can't even dance bachata, salsa, or any of that.
Bro, Ed, you took the words right out of my mouth, because when reggae music came on, all the thugs stood on the back of the wall and they wasn't doing shit. And I was like, yeah, it's my time to shine, baby. Come here.
But with all of that said about albums and things like that, my question for y'all this week: what's that one album that is like the way I want to kind of describe it? It is like it's a not really obscure, but like something you feel was like lesser heard, but you feel like everybody should have or needs to listen to the album. And I'll start first because all of y'all have been way more long-winded. TJ's former group, the Bush Babies. Shouts out to YT, my brother down below. But but the Bush Babies first album, Ambushed, was one of those 90s rap albums to me that like it perfectly at the time encapsulated like that 93 92 sound of rap. It's super hard to find on streaming platforms anywhere. Like you got to find that shit, steal it and download it type shit. But that's one of those albums. Brian puts this one down. This one is an easy no-brainer in my opinion. Little Brother's The Minstrel Show. Why wasn't that in the top 100? You want to talk about another flawless album?
Yeah.
Flawless album. But Tyrone,
I heard that album, man. Underrated for real.
But Tyrone, what's one album that you feel like we all need to? And then I want everybody, we take these albums and actually do homework on them and listen to them.
Okay, so when you asked that question, the first album that came to my mind was by Dead Prez. The Dead Prez album, Let's Be Free, it had hip hop on there, it had I'm an African on there, it had like day schools don't teach us shit, you know what I mean? It was like it brought me back to that Public Enemy vibe, you know what I mean? That you know, and so that was pure hip hop, but it also was like still I'm speaking on like the black plight in America, African American shit, education, all of that. So that's the album that I thought about as soon as you said that. That's the first album that came to my head.
I remember that one. That was a good one. Ed? And it don't have to be rap, y'all.
No, absolutely. But for me, it actually is. One is a rap album. What's it called right here? Hold on. Shoot. Gravediggers, 6 Feet Deep. I think if you're into
that was my soundtrack to summer school when that album.
Yeah, if you're into like horror movies and into like good lyrics, you know, Diary of a Madman is one of the dopest, and a lot of people whiffed in doing horror rap. I think this Reza, Prince Paul, credit to them. It's a brilliant album. The other album I would recommend, actually, I don't know if many people know this. MOP did a heavy metal album where they remixed a lot of their songs called Mash Out Posse. They actually went on tour with Linkin Park, I want to say. And if you have any love for metal and hip hop, I highly recommend Mash Out Posse by MOP. It's just straight mosh pit music, man. Love that shit.
A Little Fame and Billy Danz's voices fit over guitar riffs any day.
Yes,
I've heard it. Yeah, I agree. That shit fits. But go listen to every.
Can I ask you this real quick?
Go listen to every MLP album.
What's up?
Are they like Run DMC in that type of sense? Because Run DMC was riffing over heavy metal guitars in a lot of their songs.
I've had this discussion with a lot of folks where it's like, if you really the first Marriage, Walk This Way is the first new metal, because that's what that genre is called. I guess it's I would say that's the first new metal. Other people would credit Anthrax and Public Enemy, Bring the Noise, and Anthrax actually still finishes their shows with Bring the Noise. When that song comes on and they start playing it, yo, it is one of the sickest mosh pits on the planet. But I think there's an argument to be made that Walk This Way didn't just put on hip hop on the map as far as a top 15 Billboard hit. I think it was kind of the beginning of the birth of what we now call new metal, your Linkin Parks, your Rage Against the Machines, your Korns, in that genre. So I think there's an argument to be made that right. that is the first new metal song.
Yeah, I'll give it to you on that level, but in like a comparing kind of way, it don't fit because of the styles of metal that was being played, because the Aerosmith joint just felt funky too.
It's more rock, yeah. It's more
like it fit in the time of the sampling of records of that era. But where MOP, like you could put Billy Danze and Lil Fame, it's their aggressive, raspy voices along with the lyrics. You could put them with a Pantera. Yeah. You could put them with a fucking Slipknot. Or, I mean, even if you want to go lighter than them and go to Metallica, you could put them with like fucking Gwar or some like their voices and lyrical content fits that real hardcore metal type shit.
And speaking of hardcore, to that point, everyone forgets. You remember that Judgment Night soundtrack with Biohazard, one of the hardcore legends of New York, and Onyx? Again, that was a perfect marriage of the two genres, because Onyx hit that mosh pit music vibe even with that first album, Back the Fuck Up, and Biohazard is just one of the like best, hardcore bands of the New York City hardcore scene, and it was a perfect marriage from both the New Yorkness of it to the subject matter to the vibe and the energy of it.
But you want so you can go, TJ, though, if you want the real marriage of the two, just look at the Beastie Boys, who started off as a punk band.
Absolutely.
And they came into rap.
Yeah.
You're right.
You're right.
But always shared a mix. They were the perfect, I mean, just their rhyme style, what they called them, the doo-doo rhymes. Like, that was just punk in rap. And it was fun, and it was good, and it still felt, it felt like a good mix of both. But it's on you, TJ, then, the one album.
So I'm going to go a different way because I saw they were listed towards the bottom of the list. I'm going with Portishead Live at Roseland.
Ooh.
That album, I listened to it when I first heard it. I fell in love with it, and I think I listened to that joint straight for like 2 months. I couldn't get enough of them, and I found out about them after they broke up, which even pissed me off more because I couldn't see them live anymore, and that really upset me because I love their music. I love all their albums. That's a different genre altogether. But Portishead Live at Roseland, for me, that shit is just a phenomenal album, front to back.
Yo, Portishead came on.
They're a nice marriage of hip hop and punk.
I'm still trying to figure it out because the real rap hip hop heads, when Portishead came out, and like especially if you were a weed smoker, everybody loved Portishead. I didn't listen to them heavy, and then I heard certain joints, but then when I was listening recently, like that shit was fucking movie score quality music. Like that's the best way to explain.
Yes.
They were fucking movie scores.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That whole album, and the girls have a phenomenal voice. I'm sorry, I forgot her name, but she can sing phenomenally. And I think somebody just told me she came out with a solo album recently, so I got to go check it.
It's on you,
Okay, I'm going with OGC, man.
Good one.
The Storm. That's a classic high school.
Hurricane Strange there. Ooh.
With Hurricane Strange, yeah. That was I played that shit to the ground, man. And not too many amount of people was playing it, but
that's a nice album.
Actually, when TJ mentioned Portishead, that actually reminded me of another album that I played to death when I was in Boston. The Prodigy, Fat of the Land. I can let that run. It's very British EDM, but it had kind of a little bit of a metal vibe to it, but it was also like the kind of album you could put in the background. Obviously, everyone knows Firestarter and Smack My Bitch Up, which it's not about abuse. It's about doing heroin so people can fall back on that. The name of the title. It is
Take my
British.
Picture, smack
Yep.
my picture.
It's British. It's British slang for doing heroin. But that's a great album, Fat of the Land. It's funny when he mentioned Dead Prez, the two albums I was kind of playing at the same time was Fat of the Land and Dead Prez, that album that Tyrone was talking about.
I'm gonna give one last one. Well, Sunrises in the East. If you don't know about this album, you just kick yourself. But go ahead, Tyrone.
And this album was on the list, and I don't know, and it should have been on the list. I don't know if it should have been higher or not, and I don't know how much of y'all listen to it, but not for nothing, Adele's 21 album got this boy here through some tough times, brother. I'm gonna tell you that right now. That 21 album, if you're going through some shit in your relationship, that album, I know it's on the list, but I'm just saying that album is top notch.
Facts.
I don't know how far it should have been on the list, but if you was going through some shit and you could drive in your car and you put that on, you might cry. You know what I mean? It was
Facts.
It was really that good.
That's that whiskey music. That's that you alone in the bar at 3 a.m. whiskey music right there.
But the last one I'm gonna give is I gotta give love to Frank Zappa. Like, if y'all don't know who Frank Zappa is, he was one of the greatest like musical fucking geniuses. Like, the dude's music was funky, it was soulful, it was fucking 50+ piece orchestra sounding. But he put together some albums that were like just pure stories, like that you have to listen to, like one through the end. And then you could pick through and listen to certain joints here and there. But it would behoove you to not listen to the album straight through because each song connected and told a story and gave a picture. So I would have to say You Are What You Is and Thing Fish. Now, You Are What You Is probably my favorite Zappa album, but the Thing Fish album, you're going to sit back and be like, yo, this shit, especially when you look at the cover of it, it'll make you feel like it's racist as fuck until you listen to the message. And it's far from it. It's far from it. I'm pulling up the album cover for y'all just so you can see it.
He's one of those guys that was so far ahead of his time that people were like, yeah. Like, even to this day, people will listen to it and they'll be like, what the hell? Yeah.
And the name of that character was called a mammy nun. And the clothes grew out their skin. It's just, you have to listen to the joint to understand. And then like the yuppies and stuff that they're talking about, like it's just too layered, too deep, that is too much.
It's out there
right now.
It's out there, yeah.
But last thing, because we strayed from sports, and I forgot to add this one thing from Tyrone earlier. He's asking the question of how would you feel if your favorite pro sports were choreographed and scripted? Now, the first thing that I said, well, professional wrestling. Duh, but no. The way that they talk about how, the NFL they got a script, or the NBA, they got a script. How do you think that, like, we'll start with you because you was the last one. Pick a sport and really tell me how you would feel if that shit was scripted.
I mean, kind of feel like that with the NBA, you know, and that was starting back from when Steve Nash was winning those MVPs. I don't know. I mean, I don't. It's. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to explain, man. I don't think I'd want that. You'd want it still to. It would hurt. It would hurt to know that, you know, this whole thing was devised in some back room somewhere. You know, like even down to the finals and who's going to be in the final. No, I don't want that. You know.
It would hurt. You mean like how they pick who's going to be in Heisman runnings or who's going to be in MVP runnings, or how do we make sure Michael Jordan gets propped up? Tyrone, this is your question.
When they start. All right, say for instance now they already start pushing the narrative beginning of the season. oh, this kid from Ohio State, he's gonna be the next da. And you watch the game like I watch the game like, okay, he's all right. You know what I'm saying? But he's not gonna be no Heisman. He's not in the Heisman running.
Big O, they did that with Wemby this year. So funny enough, you picked the NBA.
That's what I was about to say.
And they did that
I was
with
about
Wemby
to
this
say
year.
that.
But Tyrone, like I was saying, it's your question. Go ahead.
Well, my point was that I watch professional wrestling. I know it's scripted, but I'm still a fan of it. I still watch it. I still see what happens, even though I can predict half of the matches and stuff like that. I still am a fan of certain wrestlers, even though I know they may or may not win, depending on the script. So I just thought about this, like, what if the NFL was scripted? If I knew the NFL was scripted, I'd still watch the shit. I would still enjoy it because even though it may be scripted, the games are still the games. They're still enjoyable. And with me knowing that there's a script, I know that some of the games that they have scripted, like when I know that Buffalo is going to play Cincinnati, I know that game's going to be fire because ain't no way they're going to put Buffalo versus Cincinnati in a scripted game and make it be a blowout. You know what I'm saying? So I would think that the NFL would be better if it was scripted because certain games that they put together to be good will actually be good as shit. You know what I mean? Instead of like, you know how they put them Thursday night games together and you're like, oh, this is going to be a fire game and it's a bullshit game? If they scripted it, those games would be good as fuck to watch.
Nah, see, now I'm going to go and say, because I was going to pick NFL and be like, fuck no. Because that shit would make it unwatchable. It would make it unwatchable. Because if this shit was scripted, right, what you're telling me now is I would have to sit back and watch the Dallas Cowboys win multiple championships because, you know, America's team, they've been wanting them to win championships forever. Fuck them. No. No. I want to no. Now, NBA, TJ, and then you go. If they're scripting it for the Knicks to win a championship, I'm A-okay with that. It's my Knicks. I'm A-okay with that. Go ahead, TJ.
Fuck that. All that shit would be unwatchable. I'd take up a new fucking hobby. I'd find something else to do. I might become an astronaut, start reading books again. Some crazy shit. I don't know. But I'm not watching sports if all that shit is scripted. If the NFL says, yo, on this play, when this guy catches a ball, he's supposed to fumble? Are you fucking kidding me? These guys are out here to tear each other's heads off. That can't be scripted. Somebody's going to always fuck the script up if it was scripted. Because you're not supposed to hit the quarterback, or you're not supposed to take this guy out, or this guy gets hit a certain way and blows his knee out. So now what happens to the script? You got to back up. You write in a second character. You write in an even villain arc. What the fuck?
That's what they do in pro wrestling. That's what they do in pro wrestling.
No,
what I mean is if you have a plan to push a guy and he blows out his knee, now you got to compensate. That's what I mean to TJ's point.
Yeah, no, well, you have
That's
to,
what I mean.
You have to be old school Vince McMahon and be ready with the pencil at Gorilla.
Right.
But in sports, like you can't do that. How do you say, yo, Drew Bledsoe is going to get hurt on this play at this minute, and we're gonna have a new
and we're gonna make Tom Brady the superhero,
right?
Like, no.
right.
No.
Now,
fuck out of here.
It sounds like a script when you say it.
The Tuck
sounds
rule.
like a script when you say it.
Now I'm saying the Tuck rule. The Tuck rule made it look like, yo, we gotta get this to the Patriots. Fuck you, Brian. You know we love you though, but fuck you, Brian. But yeah, the Tuck rule.
But then
the Tuck rule made the shit look like, all right, they're trying to make this dude.
Yo, the whole Patriots.
It did, but it wouldn't work in the NBA either.
Hold on, the whole
Patriots real quick. But in the NBA, go ahead.
The whole Patriots dynasty is a script, okay?
Right.
The Slade Gate. All of that shit with Tom Brady throwing
except when they played the Giants. Except when they played the Giants. Was that in the script? Them losing to the Giants was not in the script, dogs.
That was Vince McMahon.
That was
with
not
the pencil
scripted.
at gorilla position.
That was actually that wasn't supposed to beat the Patriots. The Patriots were undefeated all season and lost to the 7-9 Giants who squeaked into the playoffs, or 9-7 squeaked in.
Listen,
that's a script.
Bro, they barely beat the Giants the last game of the. But you forget But you forget they barely beat the Giants in the regular season that year when Tom
That's
Brady
when I
and
knew
Randy
the Giants
Moss set the touchdown record.
and
They only won by a touchdown. They only go ahead.
Sorry,
Ed.
go ahead. I have witnesses that when I saw that game, that week 17 game, 16, whatever it was, when the Giants almost beat the Patriots. And I remember, and I was looked upon like I was crazy. It's like, they're not even going to get out of Green Bay. I'm like, we're winning the Super Bowl. And it was just something about that team. To the heart of this question, the reason wrestling works is because I am willing to suspend the belief that a dead man, a cadaver, can go undefeated at WrestleMania, right? Like I am willing to suspend that belief. And I think we've all touched on it in some sort of way, that the beauty of sports is that sometimes reality is beautiful. You can't script what the Giants did. You can't script what the USA hockey team did to the Russians. You can't script what Caitlyn did to energize a whole entire sport of people watching women's basketball.
What the Eagles did to the Patriots too.
Yeah, fair enough. But you're right. This backup just out of nowhere just puts this team on his back. Well, not on his back. This was the team, but you know what I mean. You can't script that kind of stuff. And I think that's the beauty of sports. That's why I get bothered when people say, well, this is fixed and this is that. I mean, with the awards, as far as media, and with the awards, as far as media, I get why people have that perception, because the gatekeepers are media that put their personal feelings into the voting. But as far as like the games itself, dogs, do you realize how much money in the lawsuits would happen if we found out this was scripted, just on the gambling laws alone? There's too much money being made on legal gambling to script this stuff.
Yes. On top of that, in the NBA, that means you're telling players to hold back. Like, you know, you could cook this dude, but not tonight, man. You're gonna have to go 7 for 25 tonight because we told this guy that he was supposed to win, and you can't do that, bro. You cannot do that. You can't take the competitive nature. You can't kill the competitive nature of an alpha athlete.
Imagine
Kobe, the league is scripted when he was going off and he had to hold back.
Imagine telling Steph Curry you have to miss.
You can tell Steph Curry you have to miss because 4 years, $120 million says miss that shot, motherfucker. That's what that says.
Nah, that ain't enough. That ain't enough. That ain't enough. That ain't enough money for him to miss.
Now, where I do agree where the suspicion of quote unquote fixing goes, and I've seen this more in soccer, is that certain teams do generate more money. So, for example, if I'm watching Champions League with Real Madrid or Barcelona or Bayern Munich, these are teams that tend to get the calls. We see it with the Yankees. We see it with Duke. We see it with the Lakers. Certain teams tend to get the calls. And that's where, like, people, like unfortunately, we live in an era where everything's a conspiracy theory. Oh, the sun is out, must be a conspiracy. Oh, the moon is out, must be a conspiracy. So part of that is also the culture has changed, where we're giving the Alex Jones of the world all this leverage,
like Brian
and all
said.
this agency.
Brian said, "Hey Kobe, play like Ben Simmons tonight." Script says it. You know how bugged out that would be?
Do you know if I could take the pencil?
You might get slapped in the face.
Oh man, if I could take a pencil to the script, I would script Ben Simmons to the all-world defense and KD's big toe not to be on the line. And like, but that's the beauty of sports. Sometimes it's so unbelievable that these narratives, storytelling, much like pro wrestling, storytelling is what drives sports. The storytelling of an underdog Elisha Manning against the big, mighty, undefeated Patriots. The story of this scrappy New York Knicks team for you guys. Like, that was a story that it was a Rocky story and punch Philly to take over Philly like they did. That's a great story to tell if you're being objective. And that's the beauty of sports, is that you can't script it. And sometimes the real is so unbelievable, but it's right there before your eyes.
But here's the thing, though,
you
right?
can't believe it. It's like you can't believe it, Ed. It's so
real.
But if we're watching the NFL or the NBA or any sports league, right? And the two teams that we want, the two teams that we've been watching all year, the two teams that are the two best teams make it to the NBA Finals or make it to the Super Bowl, right? And we know it's scripted. You're not going to watch that game? That game is going to be fire, scripted or not.
No, it's not. It's not going to be fire because you already know who won. So why watch it?
You ain't going to know who won. Just because it's scripted don't mean you know who's winning.
You know what happened.
Listen, you don't know who's winning on wrestling. You can speculate, you can predict some of the matches, but you don't know who's winning.
But if it's scripted, they're not going to go as hard.
You already contradicted yourself. You said you can predict who wins. You already contradicted yourself. You can predict who wins.
Listen, you can predict who wins, but that don't stop you from watching it. And your predictions don't necessarily mean that you're right. You can predict it.
But Tyrone, it goes to the suspending of belief. I can suspend belief watching Avengers that this Asgardian god can carry this hammer. You know what I'm saying? Same as I can suspend the belief that Daniel Bryan can somehow take on the Vince McMahon machine and have that WrestleMania moment. I am suspending that belief. But there's got to be a willingness by the audience to suspend that belief.
Okay, and Ed, guess what? When Eli Manning threw that pass to Manningham on the sideline in that Super Bowl, I suspended belief.
Right, no. But that's the thing. But that's that suspension of belief is improbability. It's holy shit, I can't believe that happened. Not like a wrestling out, like to what you're kind of saying, because WWE, every match is damn near predictable. Like I said, with the exception of fucking Liv Morgan, whatever. But every match in the WWE is predictable, damn near. You can write it and you know what's going to happen. It's about what I think you're trying to speak to is the in between and the path to get there. And now in wrestling, it's totally different. But in regular sports, it's going to go to what I think Big O said. You're going to be able to see who's taking plays off and who's not. That's the difference. But if you want
it's going to be obvious.
I was thinking about it like this. You want the perfect example of scripted in actually a scripted movie, but how they kind of showed us, like I said, like the Heisman Trophy race shit and how it was supposed to go, but unfortunately it didn't because real life. Watch the movie The Program. Watch the movie The Program. And how they had the kid who was the quarterback. He was set up to make a Heisman run. He was set up to win a Heisman run. Little did the world know that he would get hurt. He was having all those problems at home with the daddy issues and the life issues and alcohol and the fucking the adrenaline rushes, playing chicken on the train tracks and all that shit. Like you can. There's certain things that we know definitely are scripted. Like I mentioned before, I just said it again. Heisman Trophy people, who's going to be in MVP races, things like that. You kind of know ahead of time who these leagues are looking at. You can figure that out. Some people from the beginning, like Wemby. Some people like, holy shit, SGA should have won. They think shit like that. It becomes, this is scripted, but there's still this other look. There's still this other.
Here's a perfect example. Rudy Gobert won Defensive Player of the Year and is getting cooked by Kyrie and Luka on a nightly basis in the playoffs. They search him out to attack him, and they're scoring on him with ease. This is the Defensive Player of the Year award. All right, rim protector, 7'2" Rudy Gobert, and they're running around, and he's a liability now instead of
a strength,
a reliability. He's a liability.
Minnesota won by putting Cat on Jokic because Rudy couldn't handle it. They literally won the series by putting Cat on Jokic because Rudy was getting.
Well, no, they threw bodies. It wasn't just Cat. They threw a lot of big bodies at Joker. So it was, again, the coaching. But we go back to that the coach knew how to use the assets that he has. And credit to Jason Kidd that he knows how to create these mismatches where now you have Gobert on an island against either Luka or Kyrie, and that's not going to end well for fucking Gobert. Not at all. It's because especially during him outside of the paint, he's not Wemby. Wemby can play that perimeter. He can't.
It was Dancing with the Stars, boy.
Right. Ed, that's Jason Kidd being a point guard. That's still him being a point guard mentality and attacking the defense. That's the advantage he has right now.
That's
He's
another
seeing
guy
it
I'm
from a
bitter
player
at too.
perspective.
And
He's seeing it from a player perspective, and he's cooking these guys.
And the point to all of that is bringing it back to that, because y'all bounced between two different series. Denver allegedly was running it back.
I thought they were.
And it showed how unscripted.
I thought they should have. I thought they should have.
It shows how unscripted works. It goes back to
it wasn't in the script.
It goes back to that saying of any given Sunday.
What I've loved about
Real quick,
these playoffs.
Ed, I got a question for you.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
How do you feel about Man U winning the other day in the championships for the when they played Manchester?
Manchester. Well, one, because I'm an Arsenal fan, I wish they'd have lost the week before when Arsenal was up for the title. So in English Premier League soccer, there's no playoff. How you stand in the standings is where that's it. And so my team ended up in second place.
Right.
And so we needed Manchester to lose and Arsenal to win. We held up our end of the bargain. Manchester City's just that good. And I think what happened was a hangover of celebrating almost. They won the Premier League, so they were like, this FA Cup, which is the in-season tournament. They do the final for the in-season tournament at the end. Manchester United needed this because there's millions of dollars at stake, and they qualified into something called the Europa tournament, the Europa League. And so what it ended up happening is that because they get the automatic bid, Chelsea now moves to what would be the NIT equivalent of that tournament. And Newcastle got screwed out of being in any European tournament. So it actually made a lot of money, and it might have saved the coach's job, Erik ten Hag. His job was in trouble. So it was fascinating to see. I'm still angry. I'm not angry because they were the better team. But I wish
seen a lot of people upset about it. A lot of people were upset about Man winning, man.
To me, it was more about like, damn, you couldn't lose last week. Like you chose this week. Like, come on. Like, it's kind of, just gotta. It's like the next thing. Like, you tried, you put your effort into it, and it just didn't work out, and you just charged it to the game. But I was already disappointed to begin with going into the FA Cup, and then these jabrones end up losing, and it's like, oh.
Imagine if soccer was scripted like that. People would lose their fucking mind.
But that's the problem, TJ. In many of the parts of the world, it is.
There's always much like they say about like the Yankees get the call. There's certain teams. Man U gets the call. Man City gets the call. Real Madrid gets the call. So I'll give you an example. The injury time. It's like, oh, okay. Say that a team, Atletico Madrid, is up on Real Madrid. And they're up 1 goal, and the injury time aspect of it, you're like, okay, they're gonna do 4 minutes, and next thing you know, you see the FIFA ref go 10 minutes, and you're like, what? 10 minutes? Yeah. It's those little aspects where you're like, you're yelling at the TV, blow the whistle, blow the whistle. Like
the fix over there, especially once you get to like Spanish leagues or some of the Middle Eastern leagues, the fix be in heavy. Some of the African leagues, the fix being heavy.
Those third world countries, there's some grimy stuff going. You're right. You absolutely, some of them third world countries in South and Central America. Whoo!
But what's coming in heavy now is the end of the show. Ed, you know what to do.
I want to thank you guys. Tyrone, I'll send you the bill for me lawyering up for you at some point. I'll give you a discount because you're cool with me. So I got you, dude. I got you. I didn't come here. I came here in love and peace and lawyering as well. Thanks for having me on, guys. It's always a pleasure to be on.
TJ, you were late.
Shout out to Top Dog Law for showing up today. You know what I'm saying? And
you in an accident. You and your wife was driving 2 Hellcats, and that bitch smacked the telephone pole. Did I show you? I showed y'all my TikTok. I did that.
No.
Okay, keep going, and I'll pull it up for my end.
All right, shout out to everybody here. Delispa, Dan. Shout out to Brian in the comments. Everybody else in the comments. Another dope show. Sorry it's late. I had to do some running around before I got on. But another dope show. A lot of good topics. Everybody got their piece. Screw the Apple 100 music list, and see y'all next week.
Oh,
sir, yes, sir. Yo, great show, man. Yo, I love us talking about albums and shit, man. But yeah, the list itself, trash. I think we could all agree on that, man. Great show. Can't wait for next week, man. Ed, at this point, man, we starting 5, man. You are 6 man. So
I'll come off the bench. I'll be Lou Williams. I'll see y'all at Magic City.
Bet. I mean, shout out to Jamal not here. Shout out to the listeners again. Pass it on to TJ real quick, man.
Tyrone.
Tyrone, my fault.
I just want to end by saying that if the NBA was fixed, I don't think I would have a problem. I'm saying, but shout out to the listeners. Shout out to Brian in the comments. Shout out to Mr. Cochran over here. That's right. I appreciate it because I do need some lowering up. You know what I'm saying, at time to time. So shout out to Ed for coming. And I like Ed because like he said, like he can fit in right with us because he's got bars for everything. He said it earlier, and what it is, he's got bars for everything. So shout out to Ed for being here. And I'm looking forward to next week.
And as always, hooksrub.com, 20% off your order. Follow us on everywhere. Here's the Top Dog nonsense that we was talking about.
Beating your ass.
Yo, I'm glad some other people actually recognize this shit. Cause son be wildin', yo. He be on the commercials like, you got into an accident. Your mama's on welfare. Your baby mama's hounding you for that back child support. But you need to get your 1996 Dodge Neon back on the road so you could get to your Amazon delivery job. What you gonna do about it? Where you gonna go? You obviously can't ask your baby mother. Your baby mother don't know you got a side chick who broke too. So who you gonna call? Call Top Dog Law. Call that nigga now. I had to go in on that because them commercials be the most absurd shit ever. We might have to do a topic on some shit like that. Like, just have some more fun, funny ass fucking. We've been talking about that for a while, to be honest with you. Keeps flooding out inbox with like shit. Funny. We might have to put up a collective.
Well said.
He said, and last word. I have a structured settlement, but I need cash now. Ed, get on it.
Get on it.